coming up in this episode. And then they hear...
What in the world? Okay.
Exactly, right? And
that was creepy.
yeah, very, very creepy.
Haunted mansions, aliens, conspiracy theories, demons, Sasquatch, cozy and strange.
Yes, welcome to episode 3. I am Aaron.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is the Dalby Spook, the story of the Dalby Spook. And it goes by another name, but I'm keeping that one
A secret?
a secret until we get to that point.
Okay.
So
Wait. So what is it? Dalby?
Dalby. It's the name of a village.
Oh.
And we're going to the Isle of Man, which is an island between Ireland and Britain. So it's a very remote location.
Okay. Oh.
And
Okay.
before I jump into this, I have to say researching this one was fun, but some weird stuff started happening.
In the house?
Yes. Well, our air conditioning went out.
Yes.
When we sat down the first time to record this, the one microphone wouldn't work.
Yep.
And I couldn't figure out why.
And then the computer, the
So-
software, it was a mess.
So I don't know if, just researching this topic kind of summoned some weird stuff, and I don't know. Well, I mean, it's working now. So let's jump into the story. So
Before things stop working.
the year is 1917. We have a family, the Irvings. We have James Irving, Margaret Irving is his wife. And then he has a daughter and son. I don't know their names off the top of my head because the older children don't come to the island. And they buy this house called Dorlish Cashem, which Cashem is a family name, so it was property owned by the Cashens. And Mr. Irving, I'm going to call him Jim. He used to be a piano or organ salesman, and they had kind of
organ, man.
Yeah, another organ, yes. They had a middle-class lifestyle. They did pretty well, and they were from Liverpool. And then after World War I, nobody was buying organs or pianos. And so he had to switch careers, and then he bounced around from career to career. And then he had the idea to buy this farm that's on this island on the Isle of Man. And I guess he thought he would have like a working farm, and it would be kind of like a rental situation. Well, things didn't go so well, and they ended up living there. So
Okay. I'm just picturing it like this island out in the middle of nowhere and
it's beautiful.
that'll work.
It's absolutely beautiful. I've seen pictures.
Okay.
But there's nothing there. So he has a couple of workmen. They go to the town nearby, Dalby Village, and they stay in some kind of cottage. And within like a couple of days, they were staying at this place. They just pack up and leave. And
The workmen did.
The workmen. And they're like, this place is creepy. I'm not staying here. I'm not doing it.
Is he there too with them? Or
No, he was having them do the work, but
okay.
they abandoned the place.
Okay.
And the house, some people think it goes back to medieval times, like it's a very old house. And the construction of it's kind of strange. It's like a farmhouse, but it's pretty big. And it has kind of like a stone exterior, and the interior is like wood paneling. And it creates kind of a strange acoustics in the house.
Yeah.
So
echoey or whatever, or do noises carry?
yes, noises carry very easily, and that becomes a thing later. So they have another daughter, and her name is Voiri, which I guess they're on the island. It's the Manx culture. That's where we get the Manx cat that has like no tail, that cat. And the Manx culture, it's very, very old. It's very steeped in mythology. They believe in the fae. They believe in, fairies and pixies and stuff like that. And they're also, they're like farming folk. And they lived there for about 13 years with their daughter, Voiri, which I think is Manx for Mary. It's like a derivation of Mary.
Oh.
And nothing out of the ordinary happens until...
Wait a minute. So they move in after these workmen are
Yes.
like, after a couple days, like, nope.
Yeah.
And they're there for 13 years
13
and nothing
years,
really happens?
Nothing really happened. They're super isolated. Jim is really bored. He doesn't fit in with the village folk. Like he's kind of middle class. They think he's kind of snooty. They think he was like
from a city.
Yeah, and he doesn't find them like intellectually stimulating. And then Margaret, they think she's a little witchy. They don't like her. She creeps them out. And also Voiri is apparently kind of strange and a little witchy as well. So they don't really fit in. They're very isolated. Nobody really likes them. And then when Voiri turns about 13, they have an instant.
Okay.
And this is where we begin our tale.
Okay.
So it starts out, Jim hears some kind of scurrying in the walls, and he thinks he might have a rat problem.
Yeah.
So they sprinkle flour on the floor.
Oh,
and
to get tracks or something?
Yeah, to get tracks, and then he sets traps, and he continues to hear the thing scurrying about in the walls, but never catches anything. They never catch any footprints either.
Oh.
Like, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
And apparently this place is like full of holes. Imagine like a old Tom and Jerry house that's got holes everywhere.
It's like a field day for mice.
Yeah, it's like a easy
Whoopity-doo.
place. It's like, I mean, like an old, like kind of barn cottagey place. It's got lots of holes in the walls. It's a little janky and
I
crooked.
am also picturing that it's like drafty.
Yes, drafty. It's like an old castle or something.
Yeah.
So one night, Jim and Margaret are laying in bed and they hear this like tapping on the ceiling.
Oh.
It's just like this over and over. It's like tap, 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 tap.
On the ceiling. So it's not like, okay, so I'm also wondering how many stories are there? Is it something on the roof tapping?
No,
or-
it's clearly like up in the attic.
Oh, okay.
Because and the traps have done nothing. They've got nothing in the traps.
Okay, so it's the tapping.
Jim he can't take anymore, so he goes and he climbs up in the attic and he looks around. He sees nothing. However, he does find this little wooden like carving that he owned. It was like a little knickknack. And it's on the floor of the attic, and he's like, "That's strange
weird.
because it's out of place. It's normally down in the study."
Oh, that
and
is
he
weird.
does a little experiment. He picks it up and he drops it, and it's the exact noise that he was hearing.
Oh.
And so like something had been picking it up
And dropping it or
dropping
whatever. Oh, okay.
and so he comes
And
back to bed.
They don't have dogs or cats or pets?
They do. They're like a sheep farm, so I think they have a sheepdog.
Who might be outside.
Yeah,
like a
everything's
working dog.
outside. They don't have a cat or anything like that.
Okay.
So he comes back to bed and he says to Margaret, he's like, "I don't think that is a rat." And then they hear
What in the world? Okay.
exactly, right? And
That was creepy.
yeah, very, very creepy. And so they go to sleep, and then the next day, they keep hearing like barks and meows coming from the wall. It's like, it's. So Jim he must be really bored out in the middle of nowhere because
of course, yeah.
he's not like horrified or anything like that. He's just like he's kind of entertained.
He's curious.
He's curious. He's very curious, and so is Vori. Vori's pretty curious.
That's interesting. Well, and also I'm also thinking. Okay, so it's early 1900s. Like
Yeah.
they probably don't have visitors.
Yeah.
Who are they calling?
Yeah, and the town doesn't really
Still,
like
like-
them, so they're completely isolated.
Right,
they're on their
right.
own island basically,
Man,
and so
a little like concerning.
so the family kind of starts doing a little experiment,
Okay.
and they'll make the noise, like they'll bark, they're like ruff ruff, and then it goes, and so it like echoes back, and then they try different animals. They're like, like a bird, like, and then it'll go. And so it's like mimicking back the animal sounds that they
Okay.
do. Jim gets the idea. He makes the noise, and then it barks, and then he's like dog, and pretty soon he's like it'll go. And he's like, dog. And it'll go, dog. And he's like, oh, that's cool. It can talk. And he'll go, like, and then he starts naming animals, and it'll call out the word. Like, he'll go, cat. And it'll go, meow. And he's like, yeah. And so he's
Okay, so there's
this is
clearly intelligence,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and he goes to the neighbors to talk about I guess he borrowed the rat traps from the neighbors, and they're like, "How's it going with the rat?" And he's like, "Well, the damn thing started talking now." And they're the guys like, "Okay,
What?
whatever, Jim."
Okay, weirdo.
So Jim
gosh.
takes it upon himself to try to teach this thing how to talk, and they hear it thumping around in the walls all day,
What? But
all
they
night.
don't see anything.
They don't see anything. There is a record that Voiri says that she sees something out that looks kind of like a weasel. It's about 12 inches long, and it's yellow fur, and it looks kind of like a weasel she sees out in the farmyard one day. So
Okay.
So Jim, he continues to try to teach it how to talk, and pretty soon it acts like it's like it makes like baby babble noises, like
Okay, wait.
yeah.
So everyone in the house can hear this.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Jim's not going a little cuckoo.
No, everyone can hear it.
Okay.
Like he's not hearing
It's
it by
not
himself.
internal.
No, they can hear it, and they're interacting with it too. And they're kind of creeped out, but kind of entertained. And then they hear it making baby babbling noises in the wall. It's like,
Oh, no.
and like
No.
so Jim starts this campaign of trying to teach it how to talk, and he's teaching it words, and he's like, say bread, and it's like bread, and he's like, good, very good. And within a week, this thing is saying full sentences.
Oh my goodness.
He's teaching it nursery rhymes and stuff. Like he's like,
What is this?
go on then, give us a nursery rhyme, and it's like,
Hey diddle diddle. The cats and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon.
and he's like, yay, very good, very good. And so
What about this neighbor that I guess I keep thinking, like, is anybody else verifying this? So, like, the neighbor that he borrowed the traps, like,
Yeah.
hey, Bob, come
We'll
on
get to
over.
that.
And okay.
eventually,
Like,
these are
this
just the early days.
Because it's not like they can record it, right?
Yeah, for the first 6 months when this thing starts to happen.
Wow, in 6 months, it's going from,
No,
like, taps.
it went from taps to talking within a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And so in Jim's diary, he starts to question. He's like, I think this thing is gaslighting me. He's like, I think it could really talk and understand us the whole time, but it's pretending how to learn, because he's like, it's a little too uncanny the way it's learning really quickly. And then he starts to kind of speculate. He's like, I think this thing could talk the whole time. And he's like, and if it would have just started talking outright, we would have been completely creeped out and probably left.
Right.
And so it's like easing them into the idea that
After
it can
13 years.
Yeah. Well,
Because they didn't do anything.
started
Because it
one
just
day.
started. Okay.
And so
It can't pinpoint, like, anything different that had happened for it to start.
So Jim asks it, he's like, what are you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And it says,
I am the ghost of a mongoose, and I will haunt you.
Oh my good God.
and apparently it has this like demonic laugh that creeps them all out. I'll give you a little taste in it. Like,
Oh God.
like that kind of stuff, right?
No.
And it's not that nice. It starts to, I feel like it starts to wage a war on them to get them to leave once it starts
Weird.
talking. Like it will,
That's weird,
it will
though,
appear
right?
all over the house. It starts spitting at them, like from little holes in the wall. It's like,
Ew.
and they'll find like puddles of pee in like inappropriate areas. Like they'll go down to like
No.
have breakfast and there'll be like pee on the table. Or I don't know if it's pee. I don't know. They know for sure. It smells like pee.
Well, no, yeah, but like, come on. Okay, wait. All right. So they're in this house for 13 years. Nothing really happens. Then this happens. And like, clearly he wants a relationship with the family because he eases them into talking.
Yeah.
And then he gets mean and like, I want you to
Yes.
leave the house.
He's very temperamental, like, and he's very
and he's like
opinionated.
peeing all over the place.
He's spitting on them.
No.
He doesn't hurt anybody physically. But
Are they trying to get this thing out?
well, okay, they're kind of stuck, right? They can't leave.
They can't leave
They
'cause
don't
they
have any
can't
money.
afford
They're
it.
very very poor, and so
No, I would be like, you need to get out. Like,
kind of becomes a battle of wills. And it's like Jim will be like down in the study reading the newspaper, and it'll be like,
Put out that fire. It's too damn hot in here.
I mean, really, that sounds like us.
yeah. I like it warm. I like it warm.
He does. I'm like, oh my gosh, dying in here.
So
Anyway.
yeah, and he asks it like first he says, so okay, you're a ghost of a mongoose. What's your name? And he's like,
My name's Jeff. I'm the eighth wonder of the world.
so his name is Jeff, right? And Jeff is okay.
Sorry, I'm getting my head around.
This is bananas, right?
Well, it's a mongoose?
Yeah,
The
he says
ghost
he's
of
first he says he's a weasel, and then he changes it and says he's a mongoose.
And he's the ghost of a mongoose.
he said he's the ghost of a mongoose.
Can
And
mongoose
he also
talk?
says other things like
I have hands and I have feet. If you saw me, you would faint.
but no one can see him. And he hates it when people when they try to look and find him. He scurries away. Like he's like very
and he
does
can-
not want to be seen at all. And he also gets very interested in Vori. He like wants to
No.
hang out. He follows
Ew.
her around everywhere.
No.
And he's also he gets kind of pervy. Like,
I mean, he's stalking her. It sounds perfect.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, okay.
so like
If
one
you
evening,
could just see my face, I'm like,
so one
what is
evening
this?
when Margaret is getting ready for bed and she's like taking off her clothes, he starts like narrating everything she's doing, you know, and he's like,
creeper.
I see Paris, I see France, I see Margaret Cinderpants. You and my polka dots. Ooh,
What? Oh God.
so they are. So I think Margaret and Jim's strategy is
Yes.
to just not give it the
Like not
satisfaction.
engage it like a toddler. Like, okay,
yeah,
it's
they're
bad
just kind of
behavior
like
and
stiff
I'm
upper
ignoring
lip.
it. Yeah.
They're very stoic about it, and whereas Voiri is completely freaked out.
Yeah.
And it notices and it kind of clamps down, like it really.
Oh.
So like Voiri will be trying to sleep, and it'll be
Because
like
she's like a teenager.
she's 13, and it'll be like,
Vori, are you sleeping?
Oh God.
Answer me, Vori.
No.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Oh my gosh. I would try throwing pillows at the thing or like leave me alone.
yeah. And it also
Sleeping. I don't like you.
like at night when Jim will go to the bathroom, it narrates everything he's doing. You're like,
I'm walking to the toilet. I'm getting me lag out. I'm forwarding. I'm making water. I'm scratching me bum.
it's so super annoying, right?
Yes.
And so Jim and Margaret actually they get kind of afraid for Voiri because he's very into like following her around, and he
No.
hasn't like hurt her or anything, but it's very scary. So one day they decide to move Voiri's bed into their room because
Okay.
they're concerned about leaving her alone with this thing, and it throws a fit. It's like
Oh.
slamming into the walls. It's like
Whenever you move her, I will find her.
and they're like freaked out, and so Jim I think he has enough, and he decides that he's going to poison Jeff, or he's going to try to. So he
How
gets.
does Jeff eat?
They haven't noticed any food missing or anything, so they don't know. And then like when he put the traps out, it just evaded all the traps. But I mean, it's worth a shot. So he goes and gets some rat poison, and he puts it on a piece of bread. And so like 2 a.m. one night, they're all sleeping in the room, and they hear.
Oh. Jeez. Oh my God.
And they're like, oh, and then Voiri's like, what was that? And Jim's like, well, I put some poison out for this thing, try to kill it. And it's like, for like 20 minutes, this goes on. Like,
I'm dying. Oh, Jim. Why have you tried to poison me, Jim?
Oh my gosh. It's the most dramatic creature.
Oh, still alive, still alive. Oh, my pants. Oh, pants, pants.
and finally it's like,
You think I'm stupid, Jim? I need your poison. I'm very insulted you tried to kill me, Jim.
and so they kind of reach an agreement because, you know, shots have been fired
Yeah.
by both sides.
Yeah.
And they decide that, okay, Jim's like, okay, I'm not going to try to kill this thing anymore.
Yeah.
So then they try to kind of appease it, and they start leaving it like offerings of food. And apparently, like they questioned it before, and it said it didn't have a stomach and it didn't eat. However, they'll leave like pieces of banana out for it, and it like it's gone. And so they put it on a little plate in the kitchen, and they leave little pieces of chocolate. And they soon find out that he's got a little sweet tooth. He likes chocolate. He likes bacon, but only if you cut the fat off the bacon.
Wow,
And,
very specific.
And I think Margaret in the record, she actually one time feeds it through the wall. Like she feels its teeth on her
What?
fingers, like in a nice way, like it doesn't
No,
bite
but
her.
like this is weird.
It's totally weird.
Like
right?
what animal talks?
It's bananas. This
It's
whole
just not. This isn't.
so
I don't.
so they kind of reach peace with Jeff, and
Again, I'm like, who is very? Is this like groupthink happening where like
we'll get to that
they're
part
all
later. I'm just kind of presenting
believing this delusion?
I'm presenting
So-
the phenomenon.
I'm going too far. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. It's bizarre. It's bananas, right?
Yeah,
it's
'cause
crazy.
what animal, like-
crazy. So Vory apparently is very skilled at hunting rabbits, and that's like kind of a thing that I guess they eat the rabbits, and they also sell rabbits as like pocket money or whatever.
Okay.
So Jeff decides that he will help out, and he starts getting rabbits for them too, and he would leave them for them by this hedgerow, and it helps with the family budget. Like he brings in
Wow.
like Vory will go out and get like 3 or 4 rabbits, and Jeff will get like 10 rabbits.
Wow.
And what was really bizarre is Vory would club him over the head.
Yeah.
She'd get her pointer dog to point him, and they'd freeze, and she'd sneak up behind and club him. So it was like kind of messy. But Jeff's rabbits, they're all completely pristine and untouched. However, their eyes are all bulged out, which suggests that he strangled them.
Oh.
And they do have reports where they've seen his hands, and he has little like human-like hands that he can like ball up in fists and like pound on the walls and stuff like that.
So he can be seen, and they've seen like
people. No, I don't think Jim or Margaret ever really saw him, but
Yeah.
Vory says that she saw him. There was one time when Jim was out in the farmyard, and he saw a large cat. Like Vory and Jim saw this cat, and it had a big old. It was bigger than a regular cat. It looked kind of like a Manx. It had no tail. It had tiger stripes, and it had this giant head that was kind of like a bulldog head.
Oh.
And so they were speculating, like, could that be Jeff? And then later that night, Jim was in his study, and he was like,
Jim, that was me you saw.
and he was like, oh, that was you? And he's
Like, yes.
so, yeah, I think he could shape change. And he also, it appears that he could be invisible too, because he would go around the town and he would get gossip from like, he's like,
Miss McNulty's knitting a sweater that's red and white.
and then they'd find out that she was knitting a sweater that was red and white. So he was very accurate with his gossip, and he would bring him little trinkets and
so
stuff.
he can
He'd be
leave
like,
the house. He can do stuff.
and there's a record of a workman's
Weird.
that was on the farm that saw a sandwich get up and walk itself out into a bush,
Oh, okay.
and like it was being carried by like a
The
squirrel or a cat or
invisible-
something.
invisible animal.
So they think that I think that it sounds like he was invisible, or he could turn invisible. And so pretty soon Jim is telling everybody. Jim is, and the whole.
Can you imagine if our neighbor came over and told us?
Want to see my talking mongoose? And it's the talk of the town, because there's nothing
'Cause
doing
it's
on this
weird.
island,
Well,
so
yeah, it's
everybody
true.
is completely enraptured with this idea, and little kids start coming to the house and trying to give Jeff treats, because he's very antisocial. He doesn't like talking to people.
Except
he doesn't
this
want to be
family.
seen.
Yeah.
He talks about having a fear of being caught, and they ask him where he's from, and he said he was born 80 years ago in India.
Oh.
And he said he was chased away by a man in a green turban with a hunchback. And then Jeff he speaks multiple languages. He can speak Spanish. He can speak Hindi. He can speak Russian. He likes to sing hymns. And they make a little sanctum for him upstairs. There's like a little I don't know. It's some kind of shelf, and it's in Vory's room. And then it has a little hole that goes out into the hallway, and another hole that connects, so he could go back and forth in between Jim and Margaret's room and Vory's room. And that's where they leave him stuff, and they get him a little ball to play with. And
So she's moved back into her bedroom because they feel like she's safe now. I don't know. I feel like he's courting her or something. It's weird.
it is pretty weird.
Anyway.
However, Jeff is like her defender. She gets a reputation in town. They call her the Dalby Spook. They're like, here comes the Dalby Spook, because
Yeah.
she was already kind of weird to begin with.
Oh, okay.
And so
Witchy.
she's walking to the bus one day, and they're like, here comes the Dalby Spook. And then all of a sudden, all the kids get pelted with stones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's Jeff.
And then Jeff also, he doesn't like people talking about him. One of the neighbors suggested that Vory was a ventriloquist, and that
Oh.
she was the one making the voice of Jeff.
Sure.
And Jeff did not like that. He's like,
I will kill that chickens if he keeps talking about me.
and so, and then sure enough, like a week later, this guy's chickens start dying off, right?
With their eyes popped out.
I don't know about that, but like his
Strangled.
chickens were dying. So,
But I mean, that's an interesting theory because of this house and how the sounds carry.
Yes, and so now we have the whole town knows about it, and the word's getting out that there's Jeff the talking mongoose, and everybody wants to see him. And so the reporters start showing up.
But he's the ghost of a talking mongoose.
Yeah, and so one reporter. So enter Harry Price.
No.
Yes, from episode 2.
Okay.
Apparently, one of the neighbors writes a letter to Harry Price.
Yeah.
and like there's some,
I mean, he's the guy to go to.
he
for this.
is. He's the man of the land, and this is a couple years actually before Borley Rectory happened.
Okay.
So it's like 2 or 3 years before. So he's still trying to make a name for himself.
Okay.
And one of their neighbors writes a letter to Harry Price and says, "Hey, there's this talking mongoose thing. You should come check it out." And Harry Price is kind of skeptical at first. So
Yeah. Hey, good for him. He's like, no, that's
he's in the
too
game
much.
of busting frauds.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
So
that's
he's
true.
always on
Okay.
the lookout.
So he's like, all right, let's check it out.
He sends this guy named Captain Harold Dennis in his stead to come and check out whether or not this is true.
Okay.
And so Dennis comes and he meets with Jim and he meets with Voiry, and he's immediately noticed that Margaret is a little witchy. Like everything everybody says is accurate. And Voiry,
But what does that mean?
she's just kind of strange. Like he gets a weird vibe from her. And he actually comes to the conclusion later in the story that she is possessed of psychic powers. And what that means, I don't know. Like she seems like she knows things or something. I don't know. She's got a witchy way. She kind of
But okay.
She's
I'm
like Stevie
I don't
Nicks.
Even,
Yeah, she's got a lot of
That's kind of
jewelry.
what I was thinking
Lots
about.
of jewelry.
I'm like, is this like a hippie vibe?
Yeah.
Is this
Scarves-
like natural?
scarves and jewelry.
Yeah.
and a swishy way. I don't know. So he stays there for a week and
Okay.
nothing much happens. And then when he's ready to leave, Jim is like, wait. He's like, I think I hear Jeff talking. And so they sneak over to the door by the kitchen and they do hear Jeff talking to Margaret. And
Okay.
Margaret's like, it's okay, Jeff, you can come out now. And he's like,
It's not safe. He's still here. I can hear him breathing.
and so Dennis hears that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see anything. And so he reports back to Harry Price
Yeah.
that what he heard. And I don't think Voiry was anywhere to be in that scene at all.
Okay.
So Harry Price is like, this is kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
he decides that he wants to go in person. So he takes a photographer, this guy Lambert, who is a part of the British Film Society or something like that.
Wow.
And they go with a camera in tow
Okay,
and everything
yeah.
to
Try
take
to
some photos.
yeah.
And Harry Price shows up, and apparently Jeff says to either Voiry or Margaret, he was like,
I'm not talking to any of them. They're all liars.
Oh.
and so Jeff disappears.
I
And-
mean, he's not wrong.
yeah, and another thing Jeff liked to do, whenever he would disappear for a while, he would shout "banished." He'd go,
Banished.
and then he would be gone for a
You
while.
know, that reminds me of Bluey, where the dad comes in and he's like, "Dad's here," or whatever he would say. Anyway, it reminds me of.
And they
that.
ask him where he would go and he'd say he would go back to the underworld. And they're like, "What do you mean by the underworld?" And he's like, "Hell." He's like, "The land of mists." And so, I don't know.
I'm also kind of thinking, is this like a fairy of some sort?
I don't know.
The Underhill kind of a thing, but he's saying underworld.
Underworld. You never know with Jeff.
Jeff he a
likes.
demon?
He's a trickster for sure, and he's
Again, that could be a demon kind of a thing.
I don't know. So Harry Price is there with this guy Lambert, and they take some photos of the hedge where Jeff leaves the rabbits, and they don't see much of anything. And so
'Cause he's not there anymore.
And then Harry Price and Lambert, they start to suspect Voiry. They start
Okay.
to think like Voiry is the key. That's kind of the intuition tells them that. And they don't know how. So they try to separate Voiry. They ask her to go on an outing with them. And Jim is like on it. He invites himself and he goes right along, which I think honestly Jim is a good parent because he's like,
my daughter isn't going to go.
and she's like, I think she's
these-
like 17 at this point.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so,
At the times, and also like I'm not going to let her go with two guys.
and they even invite her to London on a solo mission, and
No.
Jim's like, hell no.
No.
You're gonna invite my 17-year-old daughter to go with you? Absolutely not. And I'm like,
Yeah.
good on you, Jim.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
protecting his daughter. So they kind of want to get Voiry away because I think they suspect that she has some kind of ventriloquist skills and stuff. So Harry Price leaves, and then he sends a secret investigator. In one version, he sends a woman that is kind of like an investigative reporter, and she goes and interviews all of Voiry's classmates.
Oh.
And they do get stories that she can imitate animal sounds really well, and that she's also a natural ventriloquist, whatever that means. So like she can throw her voice, and that she I don't know. Later in life, when she's in her 70s, they interview Voiry, and she's like, no, she's like, she sticks to the story. She's like, Jeff was real. Jeff was a little mongoose weasel thing, and he could talk. And Jeff liked to say that he was an extra special mongoose, and that's his explanation of what he is.
That is okay. And
Voiry
you
says,
are extra special.
They ask her point blank, they're like, are you a ventriloquist? Did you make Jeff's voice? And she's like, look, Jeff ruined my life. She's like, I wish he had never happened. She blames Jeff for her not getting married.
Oh, yeah.
And like, she's like,
she was weird or something?
Yeah, she was weird. Nobody liked her. She was always an outsider. And she was like, how would I explain to any man that I have this talking mongoose that like pestered me for years? And she's like, look, if I was a ventriloquist, I would have done that with my life. And instead of having she had like a modest life and a modest job, never really reached fame or
Do you know
fortune.
if she left the island, left the town?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She totally left the town.
She didn't have to tell anybody about it. I guess, well, I don't know. Maybe she's known.
So we have another investigator that comes and stays another week. We have Nandor Fodor. He is a Hungarian psychologist that was a contemporary of Freud.
Oh, okay.
And he was also
Here we go.
Also an expert in poltergeist activities. Ooh. And he would associate psychological, I guess, pent-up psychological issues with creating poltergeist situations. And then Freud actually read his work and was impressed by it. So, and he was also a vegetarian. Oh. In the 30s. Can you imagine?
No.
Because Jessica's a vegetarian.
Yes, I am.
And we went down to Alabama and it had a horrible time trying to find vegetarian food.
I got some hummus.
Yeah. Can you imagine being on the Isle of Man?
Yeah.
And trying to find vegetarian food,
Get me a carrot.
So Nandor Fodor stayed at the house for a week, and Jeff didn't want to talk to him at first.
Well, Jeff doesn't really want to talk to anyone, it sounds like.
And finally, Jeff decided that Nandor was all right. Okay. And he asked Jim, he's like, why won't he talk to me? And Jeff said,
because he doesn't believe in me.
So he was
fair.
insulted that he didn't believe in him. But
well, he's not going to believe until you start talking.
Yeah. So Nandor was finally like, I believe in you, Jeff, and I would really appreciate it if you would talk to me. So Jeff finally talked to Nandor, and Nandor's like, well, okay, tell me what you are. Are you a mongoose? Are you a ghost? And he's like,
I'm a little of both.
And he's like, okay. And he's like, well, tell me something that only you or I would know, so I know you're real. And he's like,
you've got a big nose. And you're afraid of me.
Ooh.
And Nandor's like, point. Very good. Yeah. You're correct, sir. I am afraid of you. I am afraid of you.
Now I am, yes.
And so he tried to question Jeff, but just got, random answers, and like he would never say what he looked like.
It sounds like he's kind of pulling teeth,
Yeah, he's always
just
a trickster.
Not going to give up anything he doesn't want to.
He's always kind of, you never get the straight.
So meanwhile, they're chatting, right? He's investigating, and where's the daughter? She's also still in the home.
Yeah, she's still in the home.
Did she?
Yeah,
so
Nandor stays there. He gets to chat with Jeff a little bit, and he kind of comes to the conclusion that Jeff is a psychological projection that was created by Jim.
Oh, by Jim.
Yeah. He says that it's basically the idea of a tulpa, which is like, I guess you can believe in something, and whether this is conscious or unconscious, this is very woo kind of situation, that you believe in something so intensely, or you want something so intensely that you manifest it. And this is very fringe theories, but there's been, I don't know, mystical ideas of like Buddhist monastery monks creating tulpas of helper creatures that go around and help. However, the problem with tulpas is they can get a mind of their own, and they run off and do stuff of their own accord. And so Nandor...
So not Jeff, but Jim could be a little wacky if he created this.
Yes. So Nandor, I'm trying to find what Nandor says. Oh, okay. He said, this is a damning psychological evaluation of Jim. Nandor says, Jim is a man who failed in life. His many passions were too strong to bear the failure with resignation, and therefore he created this manifestation of Jeff. And Jeff is his anguish manifested. So like that's why Jeff is snarky and Jeff is a little free spirit that does what he wants, because Jim never had that in his life. Right?
I think that's interesting. I also don't know why this manifestation would be so persistent with the daughter.
I don't know.
Yeah,
there's lots of, we'll get into the analysis after. I'm just going to wrap up the story. So in 1945, Jim starts to get in ill health. And I think his oldest daughter, her name is Elsie, she comes to stay. And I guess at this point, Vori has already moved away. Like she's like a young adult. And, And so Margaret is there,
46.
Jim is there. It's just the two of them. And then the oldest daughter comes to kind of nurse her ailing father as he's dying. And she totally does not believe in Jeff. She thinks Jeff's a bunch of crap.
Right.
And Jeff really hates that. Like he's
like, believe in me.
He doesn't like Elsie not believing in him. But she does, right at the moment when Jim is about to die, he's like on his deathbed, she looks up on the mantle and sees this little hairbrush like brushing the mantle, like back and forth, like brushing
on
the
its
mantle
own?
on its own. And Margaret saw this too. And then Jim breathes his last breath and the brush quits moving. So they kind of think that might have been Jeff coming to say his last goodbyes. And there's even, I don't know where this comes from, but there's stories about overhearing Jeff plead with Jim to let him go.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means. Okay. So
is Jeff still around after Jim dies?
No. So Vori, in an interview later, she said that Jeff became less and less like frequent. He would
as Jim was getting ill,
he'd
or
and like disappear for like months at a time. And so as Jim kind of slowly faded, Jeff appeared less and less. And then eventually he's not there anymore. And so Jim dies, and then Margaret sells the house at a huge loss because everyone is creeped out and it has this reputation for being haunted by a talking mongoose.
Yeah. Who's very unpleasant, really.
Yes, he's
like
kind of
I
a
wouldn't
jerk
want to live
sometimes.
there. Yeah.
And
unless you like rabbit. It'll help you out.
Yeah, and you have to feed him too. I think that's part of the deal.
Oh yeah.
So let's get into the theories. Okay, there's multiple theories. Okay. Theory 1, flat out, that Jeff was real. That he was an extra special talking mongoose. Right? It's completely ridiculous, right?
He is extra special.
Okay.
Extra spicy.
Theory 2, that Vori created Jeff there's a number of reasons. The first reason is that she and Margaret resented the fact that Jim moved them to out in the middle of nowhere. And so they created this scary monster Jeff to scare him to leave.
Well, that did not work.
And it didn't work.
No.
And then they had to double down on it. And then I wonder if Vori did create it, Jim really bonded with this thing. It was like this son he never had. And he would have these...
he was so bored.
Yeah, he was so bored. And he would have these long philosophical conversations. They would...
Jeff?
Jeff could speak other languages, and Jim was into languages. And so they would practice foreign languages and stuff. They would talk late into the night, apparently.
And then the daughter, like, if she's resentful, I thought she's lived there most of her life.
Yeah, she was born there pretty much.
Okay.
But, I mean, she could see as a big wide world, and they're stuck in this house, and nobody likes them. And she's bullied at school. She's weird. Like, that would suck. And so the other option is a kind of a blend of that, is that it was a family joke. Like, that went a little too far, or they all just had so much fun with it, and that it brought them so much attention, like everybody on the island hates us and thinks we're witches. Well, let's do something fun.
Yeah, right.
Let's double down on that stuff.
Let's prove it. Yeah.
And then we have Nandor Fodor's idea that he was a tulpa.
I like his the best so far.
That's pretty woo-woo though. Like that a tulpa. You know that show? It's Elijah Wood with a dog, where the dog's a tulpa, where he only can see it. I mean, I don't know.
I bet in this case everybody can, but I don't know. That one, I just think it's interesting, a projection of, a manifestation of for Jim.
Yeah. And then the other one, which is like a nefarious one, is that they created it try to make money.
Did they make money?
Nobody made any money off of this situation except for one guy. Harry Price adjacent. Harry Price adjacent. So Harry Price wrote a book about it called what's it called? The Haunting at Cashin's Gap. And Jim was like, oh, cool. He's like, let's get this book out there. And Harry Price is like, don't worry, these things don't make any money. So, like, Harry Price knew it was a purely academic, because Harry Price is seeking recognition.
Right.
He doesn't
he's
care.
Trying.
He's set, man. He's got a Harris. He's got all the money he needs. And so Jim was like, oh, you think we can make money with this? And he's like, these things aren't going to make any money. Don't get excited, Jim.
Yeah.
So Lambert, the photographer that went with him, he sued somebody for libel because he was getting attacked by people back in London and saying that he was a nutter and that he believes in talking mongooses and that he worked
Just because he took pictures?
Well, he worked for the British Film Institute,
Oh,
and he
so
was on the
it's like-
board, and they're like, you shouldn't be on the board of the British Film Institute. You believe in talking mongooses, which, I mean, that's a pretty, how do you defend that? So it went to court, and apparently the court transcript is ridiculous. They spend hours talking about what a mongoose is and stuff. And mongoose are not native to Ireland or the Isle of Man, so it's completely bizarre.
Yes,
Oh,
besides the fact that it talks.
I think Dennis, when he came, challenged Jeff and said, well, what if I bring a real mongoose? And Jeff was like,
I would kill it.
you know, so like he's like doesn't want another mongoose.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, Lambert sued for libel and won. He won like 7,500 pounds, which, like, if you think about it, what was the Borley Rectory was bought for 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So you could buy a whole bunch of Borley Rectories. So that was a huge sum of money.
Right.
So like Lambert's the only person that made any money
who
off
got
of
money.
this whole
and
endeavor.
that's just because he sued.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay,
Okay.
so those are the theories. What's your thought?
I think it's ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous. But you know, something about this, I researched this.
Never heard of anything like this.
I guarantee you this story will play around in your mind for a little bit. That's why I started getting freaked out about the air conditioning breaking and the microphone not working, because I'm like, what if there is some kind of like trickster spirit and just talking about it can summon it and like it'll mess with you, you know?
Yeah, but also it's an interesting name, or not interesting, but kind of like Jeff.
Yeah, and it's spelled
Jeff
G-E-F. Apparently he could read, but he couldn't spell. He could only spell things phonetically. I don't know. Another idea that I had, when I was doing research, I came across this character, this folklore, a fae character, and he fits the mold exactly to Jeff. He's like, he can be helpful if you feed him. He mostly like stays on farms and helps like farm families, but he's also super mischievous and really vindictive and very prideful.
He sounds very annoying.
Yeah.
To live with, right? Like, this is also like the roommate who'll never leave.
Pretty much,
You know?
And then he also
and you just have to like deal with it. I mean,
Robin Goodfellow. So like,
Okay.
and we're in the land of the Manx culture is very steeped in the Fae.
Yeah.
And so like you have like brownies and hobs and things that like
I was thinking about that earlier. Like, is this a fae of some sort?
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he's like a gnome, you know? Like one of his insults he would call Jim. Jim would read the newspaper, and if he wasn't reading it aloud, Jeff would be like, he's like,
You stop having no, but read it out loud.
and so he'd get really pissed because I guess he liked to sit in his sanctum and listen to the news. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that we have the idea of a tulpa.
Yeah.
That's pretty woo.
Yeah, but I like that one probably just because of the psychological part of it, right? And then I was also thinking of like just the collective unconscious or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Or groupthink kind of stuff, like or collective delusion or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But so anyway, I was thinking about that. So I don't believe in fae. However, that doesn't mean that's.
You better be careful because if you're talking about them, they may
believing
wake up with your hair in
but
tight
I think
knots.
it's just because it's such a cultural part that it could be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're in the land for it,
right?
Or
exactly.
like they also, I think Nandor was saying that like the spirit was already there, but then their psychological priming and interaction kind of brought it to life and stuff, and that's why you couldn't see it because he didn't really have like a physical form or something. He was more kind of like a thought, and I don't know. It's interesting. So the end of Jeff. What becomes of Jeff?
Oh yeah.
So
what?
After Margaret sells the house, it's bought at a bargain because it's haunted by some actor. I don't know his name. And he apparently is attacked by a weasel-like creature, and he shoots and kills the creature. And there is in the newspaper a picture of him holding up what seems to be Jeff, and he's like, Jeff the
What?
talking weasel shot dead in the paper. And yeah, Vori was shown this newspaper, and
Yeah.
she's like, that's not Jeff.
Yeah.
First of all, it looks like a skunk. It's like black and white striped.
Oh, okay.
And it's way too big. She's like, Jeff was only like 12 inches long. So like he was not huge.
Oh.
And so she's like, that's not Jeff. And Jeff had like yellow fur. Oh, there was another incident where Harry Price wanted as much evidence as Jim could provide.
Yeah.
And Jim said, I'll send you some of his fur. And he's like, this was collected by Jeff himself. So this is, and so Harry Price.
You say that like it was very
Well, Jim
special.
is like, this is the real deal. And
Yeah.
then Harry Price has it examined by the Natural History Museum, and it turns out to be dog hair.
Oh.
And then they also have some footprints that Jim collected in like clay or plaster or something, and it turned out to be dog prints. So
Yeah.
I don't know,
Right.
but so yeah, Vori.
Right.
She died in like 2005, and she did not like giving interviews. There was one.
Well, I'm sure like it was just terrible for her.
Yeah.
And that's what she's known for. And people
Yes.
want to like.
and she wanted that chapter closed.
Yeah. And just the exploitive nature of, like, oh, you believed this? Tell us more. Right.
Yeah, I mean that was her whole life basically,
Yeah,
or her whole
yeah.
young life. So yeah, she didn't want to talk about it. She also didn't want people to know, like
Sure,
her
yeah.
friends and family, like, oh, you're the talking mongoose lady.
Yeah.
So yeah, any other thoughts? I think we've reached the end of this one.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a good story, but also,
It's completely bananas.
yes.
But I promise you, like, this story will run around in your head. Like it has a mythic element to it.
Yeah.
That's something
I mean, it
about
feels,
it. I think about it a lot.
I don't know if it's like.
it's so stupid, but there's something that touches a deep nerve. Whether it's I don't know some kind of
it's
mythical archetype or
unnervy.
something.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I was thinking like the fae or demonic or something or trickster, right?
Yeah, definitely trickster.
So
Maybe it's just like a manifestation of some deep psychological thing
Yes.
in our minds.
Right.
like the id. It's like
Yeah.
the id come to life.
Right, right.
It likes chocolate and bananas. It's like a little tiny
Hey.
Elvis. Who doesn't like chocolate and bananas?
right.
So
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it right there.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
and
good
we'll-
idea.
We'll get back to you on the next one.
All
Thanks for
right.
listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Banished!
They talk